When they build trails here, they do not muck around. Luckily, the hike from the car park into the plunge pool at Jim Jim's only about 800 meters. Feels like about 1.5 kilometers when it's hot out here. But I tell you what, after that hike up to the top, you really need a swim at the bottom.
For me, Kakadu has always been on my bucket list to photograph. The subtle greens, fiery reds, and saturated blues. Everything about this place just captures my imagination. The base of Jim Jim Falls is a kind of natural shaded amphitheater. Boulders the size of buses crowd each other, forming a dam to hold the black water here, safe from salties. They still catch one here every couple of years after the wet and traps at the start of the season though.
I gotta say, after having hiked all the way to the top of the escarpment and seeing the falls from the top, I thought that was pretty impressive. But being down here and looking at how the water has carved out this entire gorge out of sandstone, that is insane. According to the Aboriginal Dreamtime mythology, all of the gorges in Kakadu were cut by the rainbow serpent traveling through the land. The cool thing is, these spots are still sacred to modern man. I'll tell you what, after the kilometer hike from the car park just into here, in that winter sun, you definitely need to go for a swim in there. The water is ice cold. It's about 30 meters deep, even now. And you can just imagine what it's like when the falls are coming over. Standing up at the top of the falls earlier, it's pretty inspiring, but being down here, seeing where all that water comes in, seeing this gorge that's been cut out by nothing more than water out of the sandstone, it's pretty mind-blowing. I reckon the most mind-blowing thing is going to be jumping into that ice-cold water.
Some people love swimming pools, and that's okay. But give me a rock pool in the middle of nowhere any day of the year. It's not hard to get the place to yourself for a while, and Jim Jim is blindingly beautiful. The sun is ringed by a hazy rainbow. The air smells burned, the scent of rocks in the sun, and mossy. Birds whistle and echo back and forth in the gorge. It's easy to imagine Kakadu National Park as a playground of gorges and waterholes, barra billabongs and lilies. But this is a plot of ground 1/3 the size of Tasmania. There are 4 major rivers that run through the park: the East, West, and South Alligator rivers, and the Wildman. There are over 12,000 species of plant and animal living in the park. 1/3 of all bird species in Australia can be seen in Kakadu alone. There are a few paved roads running through the park, but if you're going to see any of the real attractions here, you're going to be driving through the country the hard way. The D-Max and the MUX were built for this. From the highlands of the escarpment to the marshy, billabong-laced plains, Kakadu is like Australia in microcosm. A brutal landscape where life has somehow survived for millennia. Most of Kakadu was once beneath a shallow sea. The Arnhem Escarpment was a hulking wall of sea cliffs. But time changes everything, and those cliffs have been worn down by millions of years of rain. The drive out to Twin Falls is no less challenging than the Jim Jim track, particularly when it comes to crossing creeks. The rangers up here have plenty of stories of 2-wheel drive vehicles ending up stranded in croc-infested water here.
A few kilometers down the road from Jim Jim Falls is Twin Falls. Now here it's not as simple as just hiking in. You gotta jump on one of these little shuttle boats, and that's gonna take us about 500 meters up the creek here to a little sandy beach where we can jump out again. Running through this canyon, it's amazing to think about the time scales that we're looking at here all at the same time. Most of the sandstone was actually set down about 2.5 billion years ago. Since then, these creeks have just cut through it right down into the base of the canyon where we are now.
Once you're off the boat, it's back on your feet. A long series of small cascades runs alongside the track, but you aren't allowed to swim anywhere in the gorge, as saltwater crocodiles can still be in here from the wet.
There's something about falling water that has drawn mankind since forever ago. And you can see why. That white noise, the beauty of it. This is Twin Falls, really turning it on. Obviously in the wet, there's a lot more water coming over there. But even now, late in the dry, spectacular spot.
Here at the edge of the escarpment, you can see the violence of water. You can measure time in eons in the face of the rock. Here, Kakadu is all vertical lines. while other corners of the park are all flat plains.
When you're out on the road, one of the trickiest things is having enough storage. And there's a few ways to tackle that problem. Some people like to tow a trailer. You can put a big canopy on the back of your 4B. But a really nice way to expand your storage without investing a lot of money or time, fit a set of roof racks. These guys are awesome for storing all of your big bulky stuff like swags, jerry cans, camping chairs, crab pots. This is Roller's rack here. It's really easy to expand and configure however I want. I've got mounting points from top to bottom so I can mount whatever I want. I've got my ARB intensity up here now, but they've got shovel holders, high lift jack holders, jerry can holders. You really can turn this into whatever you need. And that's what makes a roof rack so awesome, is that it expands to take what you need. And these guys let you basically configure that for wherever you're going.